Alrighty, folks. After a miserable day of sports picks yesterday, I dropped down to just 7-3 of my last 10 chairman picks on my website. It's good for only 70% during that span. Hopefully, I can do better because 70% ain't, it's not good enough for me and my members. I'll tell you that. Yesterday was pathetic. I'm embarrassed. I'm humiliated. Lost a lot of games. Anyway, I had packages starting out at just $1.99 for 30 days of service on my website, although I should be embarrassed even promoting it because I lost a bunch of games yesterday. I feel like shit. Anyway, before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time. I can't even talk because I'm so flabbergasted at how bad I did yesterday in my plays on my site and here on YouTube. It was a joke. Should retire. But anyway, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my Major League Baseball free pick video here today. For Saturday, June 24th, 2023, my name is Brock Page. I suck at sports picks. And I've been dishing out free sports picks right here on YouTube since 2016. I don't know if you're aware. I got a website. I sell my personal plays. I'm normally really good. I was horrible yesterday. I do have packages, beginning at just $1.99. I am 7-3 in my last 10 chairman package plays on that site. That is good for 70% in that category. Not good enough for me. But hey, 70%, a lot of people would be happy with that. But anyway, my chairman package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. It gives you access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my chairman podcast, absolutely free. It is included with your purchase. I also have packages beginning at just $1.99. So it's called my Daily Best Play. If you buy it today, it only costs you $1.99, and you get access to that play every single day for the next 30 days. Works out to be like 6 cents a day. Probably wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is, you guys know, I'll handicap the entire slate of games at any given sport, side and total. And what I do on my website is I actually share with you which games I personally have my own action on. So yesterday you saw all the games that I got absolutely wiped out on and lost like a big loser. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. First game, Cubs-Cardinals, 1:10 Eastern first pitch in London. Yes, that game is in London, England. Chicago's minus 145. Total is 14. And the reason why that total is so high, well, we'll get to that in just a moment. Justin Steele for Chicago, Adam Wainwright for St. Louis. Now, Waino comes into today's ballgame with a 5.56 ERA and a 1.67 whip. And that has been pretty consistent with this entire St. Louis pitching staff. These guys have the second highest OPS, they have the second highest opponent's batting average in the majors. Only one team is worse than them. Their opponents have a very high batting average against them. They're actually allowing over 9.3 hits a game. Now, they're facing a Cubbies team who is definitely patient at the plate. These guys are in the top 3 in walks per 9 in the box. And pitching-wise, the Cubs allow only 7.7 hits a game away from Wrigley. Now, Justin Steele, he's certainly been no exception to that. He's 7-2 with an ERA of 2.71. And as a team, the Cubbies got the W in 4 out of their last 5 divisional contests away from Chicago. Now, Swanson's questionable for Chicago. Wisdom and Rio still out. And when it comes to the total, there is a short porch in center field here in this London game, and that's why we're seeing such a high total. Now, 7 out of Chicago's last 10 outings at normal-sized fields did get over the total. They're also 12-5 to the over against National League Central opponents. St. Louis saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with the Cubs get over the total as well. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Now, they're also 62% to the over when their opponents bat first. Give me the Cubs minus 145, over 14. Next ball game, D-backs, Giants, 4:05 Eastern first pitch. This game's currently off the board. Ryan Walker, possible for San Francisco. Merrill Kelly, maybe for Arizona. Kelly's 9-3 on the year with an ERA in the 2s. He's also been a big strikeout guy. He's just 4 strikeouts shy of the century mark. And even if Kelly has a tough outing here today, the D-backs love pounding the baseball. They've got a top 5 team batting average in the majors. Corbin Carroll's the team leader in hits, homers, and batting average. He's also got the 4th highest OPS average in the bigs. Christian Walker, he has been driving in all the runners. He's the club leader in RBI. Now they're taking on a Giants team who does still struggle offensively at home despite their current success. The Giants are a bottom 5 run-producing team in their own stadium. They're also striking out 9.7 times a game at the plate as well. That puts them in the bottom 3 in the league in that category. Now, injury-wise, Flores and Yastrzemski are still out for San Francisco. Give me Arizona getting the job done for some money line cash. Next matchup, Mets, Phillies, 4:05 Eastern first pitch. The New York Mets are minus 130, totals 9. Max Scherzer for New York, Chris Sanchez for Philadelphia. And out of very limited innings, Sanchez has looked pretty promising. He's got an ERA in the 3s along with a 1.08 whip. And despite their recent skid, these Phil's pitchers, they make it real tough to hit at the bank. They're allowing fewer hits per contest at home than any other staff in the majors. Now they're facing a Mets club who lost 5 out of their last 6, and they really don't pitch well on the road. New York's allowing 5.1 runs a game in their travels. And no real shock here, folks. They're in the bottom 5 in hits allowed per game on the road. And despite a solid record out of Max Scherzer, he does come into today's ball game with an uncharacteristic 4.04 ERA. Now, Scherzer's last 3 starts all got over the posted total. 8-4 to the over in his last dozen. Give me Philadelphia plus $1.10, over 9. Next game, Mariners, Orioles, 4:05 Eastern first pitch. Seattle's minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Bryce Miller for the M's, Dean Kramer for Baltimore. And even though Kramer's had some issues, the O's love winning for the guy. Baltimore 7-2 in their last 9 Dean Kramer starts. Kramer's also got 72 strikeouts and a solid 8-3 record. And even if he struggles here today, the O's have little issue getting across the base paths. These guys are a top 5 run-producing team in the American League. Austin Hayes has the highest batting average in the American League at .323. Anthony Santander leads the organization in homers and ribbies. Now they're facing a Seattle lineup who struggles hitting the baseball themselves. As a matter of fact, these guys are striking out more times a game than any other lineup besides one. And no real shock here, guys. The M's are in the bottom 5 in hits per game. J.P. Crawford is questionable for the Mariners. McCann, Mullins, and Mountcastle out for Baltimore. The O's saw unders in 3 out of Kramer's last 6 starts. 6 out of Seattle's last 10 ball games stayed under the total. Give me Baltimore plus $1, under 8.5. Next game, Rangers, Yankees, 4:05 Eastern start time. Texas is minus 130, totals 8.5. John Gray for the Rangers, Luis Severino for New York. Now, you got to wonder if something's still wrong with Severino. He's winless through 30 innings of work with an ERA in the 6s. And even if Sevy throws well here today, the Bombers can't get base runners. They're a bottom 3 hit-producing team at home in the league. They also have to face John Gray, who's been unhittable at times. The righty's 6-2 with an ERA in the 2s. He's also backed by the best hitting lineup in baseball. Adolis Garcia, he's tied for the most RBI in the majors Marcus Semion's the club leader in hits. Now, Brad Miller is still out for Texas. Aaron Judge still out for the Pinstripers. Now, New York is currently, they saw 4 out of their last 5 in the Bronx stay under the total. They're also 7-3 to the under in their last 10 at any location. The Rangers went 70% to the under in their last 10 themselves. Give me Texas minus $1.30, under 8.5. Next ball game, it is going to be A's, Blue Jays, 4:07 Eastern start time. Toronto's minus 270 at home, totals 9. Jose Barrios for Toronto, Hogan Harris for Oakland. And even though Harris has been a lone bright spot in this rotation, he still comes into today's start with a 4.45 ERA. Now, the A's have the fewest wins in the majors, and they also score the fewest runs. They're facing Jose Barrios, who's got 7 wins on the year and an ERA in the 3s. These Toronto pitchers are also fanning a lot of batters at home. They're striking out over 10.4 hitters a game in their own building. That's a league best in that category. And for those who don't already know, the Blue Jays do have a top 3 hit-producing lineup of batters. Now, Bo Bichette is still a little banged up. Keep an eye on him. He's been a big contributor to those hits. Alejandro Kirk, he is also still out for Toronto. Meanwhile, for Oakland, Laureano's hurt again. Kevin Smith's out as well. 8 out of Oakland's last 10 outings stayed under the number. Toronto went 60% to the under in their last 10. Give me Toronto minus 1.5, under 9. Next contest, Braves, Reds, 4:10 Eastern start time. Atlanta's minus 145, totals 11.5. Jared Schuster for Atlanta, Graham Ashcraft for Cincinnati. Now, Ashcraft's just 3-5 on this season with an ERA close to 7. And as good as the Reds have been recently, their pitching staff is their Achilles heel. These guys have the 3rd highest defensive OPS average in the bigs. And that's certainly bad news for Cincy backers because the Braves have the highest OPS average at the dish in the bigs. Now, no real shock here. Atlanta also hits more home runs per game than any other lineup. Matt Olson's got a National League best 23 home runs. He's also 4th in the entire league in RBI. Meanwhile, Ronald Acuna, he's in the top 3 in both batting average and OPS. 4 out of Atlanta's last 6 on the road did get over the posted total. They're also 7-3 the over in their last 10 at any location. Meanwhile, Cincinnati went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me Atlanta minus 145, over 11.5. Next ball game, Red Sox, White Sox, 4:10 Eastern start time. Boston's minus $1.25, totals 8.5. James Paxton for Boston, Lance Lynn for Chicago. Now, Lynn's just 4-8 with an ERA of 6.51. Now, the Chicago batters are also dead last in the majors in walks per 9 at the plate. They're facing James Paxton, who has exceptional control and a 1.07 whip. Meanwhile, at the plate, the Sox are a top 5 hit-producing team. Rafi Devers is tied for the most RBI in the majors. Justin Turner's second on the club in homers and RBI himself. Verdugo, Reyes, and McGuire out for Boston. Anderson, Grandal, questionable for Chicago. 3 out of the White Sox last 4 at Guaranteed Rate Field fell under. That's Guaranteed Rate Field. They're also 8-2 to the under in their last 10 at any location. The Red Sox on the other side, they've held Chicago to less than 3.9 runs a game in their last 10 head-to-head meetings. So once again, if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. Give me Boston minus $1.25, under 8.5. Next matchup, Royals, Rays, 4:10 Eastern start time. Tampa Bay's minus 275, totals 9. Yonny Chirinos possible for Tampa, Jordan Lyles for the Royals. Now, Lyles is a disgraceful 0-11 on the year with an ERA close to 7. The Royals also have the second worst record in baseball. and they just can't score for shit. They're a bottom 3 run-producing team in the bigs. They're facing a Rays team who can outscore most teams in the league. These guys lead the American League in OPS average at the dish. Yandy Diaz is in the top 10 in batting average and OPS. Meanwhile, Randy Arozarena is 7th in RBI. Now, the Rays are currently dominating the entire league in home wins. They're actually 33-9 this year at the Trop. Luke Raley's questionable for Tampa. Brandon Lau's still out. Meanwhile, for KC, Salvi Perez is questionable. Matt Beatty's inactive. 4 out of the Royals' last 5 ball games did get over the total. Tampa Bay went 7-3 the over in their last 10. Give me Tampa Bay -1.5, over 9. Next ball game, Brewers, Guardians, 410 East. Cleveland, $1.25, total 8. Tanner Bybee for Cleveland. Freddie Peralta for Milwaukee. Freddie's got a handful of wins and a bunch of strikeouts. Out of 76-plus innings, Peralta's punched out 84 batters. And as a team, the Brewers got the W in 5 out of their last 7. And they allow under 8.1 hits a game. They're facing a Cleveland lineup who just can't hit it out of the ballpark. No power. These guys are dead last in homers per 9. And no real surprise, they're scoring fewer runs a game at home than any other lineup besides one. Now, as a side note, starting pitcher Tanner Bybee, he's seen his ERA. Starting pitcher Tanner Bybee, he's seen his ERA creep up into the 4s. He also has a 1.31 whip. Now, injury-wise, Will Brennan is questionable for Cleveland. Tyrone Taylor still out for the Brewers. Milwaukee 61% to the under against American League opponents. Cleveland's 80% to the under in their interleague home games. Give me Milwaukee +105, under 8. Next ball game, Pirates, Marlins, 4:10 Eastern start time. Miami's -150, totals 8.5. Brian Hoeing for Miami, Ozzie Beto for Pittsburgh. Now, Beto's got just 10 innings of work under his belt. He's got a 1.40 whip already. The Pirates are also a bottom 5 home run hitting team in the National League. They're facing Brian Hoeing, who's got a 2.70 ERA and only 1 loss on the season. When it comes to offensive production, the Marlins are a top 5 hit-producing lineup in the National League at home. Luis Arias, he's hitting .402 and has 109 total hits. Meanwhile, Jorge Soler is 4th in the big leagues in home runs. Segura, Garcia, and Chisholm are still out for Miami. Brian Reynolds inactive for Pittsburgh. Now, the Pirates have averaged only 3.3 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Miami. Now, the Marlins are 63% to the under against National League opponents at home. Give me Miami -150, under 8.5. Next game, Astros, Dodgers, 7:15 Eastern start time. The LA Dodgers are -175, totals 9. Bobby Miller for Los Angeles, Ronel Blanco for Houston. And out of 29 innings of work, the righty Blanco has yet to record a loss. Now, these Houston pitchers allow fewer runs a game on the road than any other pitching staff besides one. They're facing a Dodger crew who scored 3 runs or less in their last 5 straight. These Dodger hitters are also striking out just way too much. They're a bottom 10 strikeout team on the at the plate. Max Muncy's still out of the lineup for the Dodgers. Yordan Alvarez inactive for Houston. 6 out of the Dodgers' last 10 outings did fall under the total. They're also 60% to the under against American League opponents at home. Give me Houston +1.5, under 9. Next ball game, Twins, Tigers, 7:15 Eastern start time. Minnesota's -160, totals 8. Pablo Lopez for the Twins, Reese Olson for Detroit. And even though Olson has given up his fair share of runs, he does have a 1.09 whip, and he averages a strikeout an inning. Now, when it comes to the run line, the Tigers are covering in 63% of their divisional games. This is a good run line covering team. Now, they're facing Pablo Lopez, who's just 3-4 in the year with a 4.40 ERA. The Twins also have a losing record on the road, and they really struggle at the plate. These guys are striking out 10.6 times a game on the road. No real surprise here, guys. The Twins are a bottom 3 hit-producing team in their travels. Polanco and Gordon are still out. Riley Green's inactive for Detroit. The Tigers have held Minnesota to just 3.3 runs a game in their last 10 meetings. They also went 7-3 the under in those 10 contests. Now, Minnesota's 70% to the under in their divisional road games. Give me the Tigers plus 1.5, under 8. Next contest, Nats, Pods, 8:40 p.m. East. San Diego's the $2 favorite, totals 8.5. Matt Waldron possibly making his debut for San Diego here today. John Gray for Washington. Now, Johnny Gray's got 72 Ks on the year and a 3.64 ERA. Now, the Nats do hit the baseball on the road. Make no mistake. They do hit the baseball away from the capital. They're a top 5 road hitting team in the National League. Lane Thomas leads the roster in hits and RBI. Joey Meneses has the highest qualifying batting average in the lineup. Now, they're facing a Padres team who plays just 500 baseball at Petco Park. Of course, these Padres batters are currently in the bottom 3 in hits per game. Now, San Diego's 63% to the under against NL competition at home. They also saw 6 out of their last 10 games against Washington stay under the line. Give me Washington plus 1.5, under 8.5. And with that, guys, now it's time for our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be Angels at the Rockies, 9:10 Coors Field. The LA Angels are minus 160 on the road, totals 12. Griffin Canning for Los Angeles, Chase Anderson for Colorado. Now, the Rockies have little issue getting base runners at home. They're averaging 9.4 hits a game at Coors Field. Ryan McMahon's the club leader in hits and RBI. Elias Diaz is hitting nearly 300 at the plate. Now, they're facing an Angels club who's on a 3-game skid. And they scored just 4 total runs during that time frame. And even though Griffin Canning's look good, he does come into today's contest with a 4.40 ERA. Rendon, Urshela, and Neto are still out for the Angels. Crone, Bryant, and Blackman out for the Rockies. 5 out of the Angels. Last 8 road games got over the total. Once again, 5 out of the Angels' last 8 road games got over the total. Give me the Rockies plus 1.5, over 12. With that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Chicago Cubs minus 145, over 14. Give me Arizona getting the job done for some money line cash. Philadelphia plus $1.10, over 9. Baltimore plus $1, under 8.5. Texas Rangers minus 130, under 8.5 runs. Toronto minus 1.5, under 9. Atlanta minus 145, over 11.5. Boston Red Sox minus $1.25, under 8.5 runs. Tampa Bay Rays minus 1.5, over 9. Milwaukee plus 105, under 8 runs. Miami Marlins minus 150, under 8.5. Houston Astros plus 1.5, under 9. Detroit Tigers plus 1.5, under 8 runs. Washington Nationals plus 1.5, under 8.5. With my next and final free pick for the video, give me the Colorado Rockies plus 1.5, over 12. With that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. Now, if you guys do end up getting a package here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just keep in mind, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, guys, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. Now, if you want to get access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days, you're going to want to sign up for my full access, all-inclusive Chairman package. Chairman members get access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. Also, another place you can access that Chairman podcast right here on YouTube. I just created memberships. So if you sign up for that membership, you will get access to that Chairman podcast every single day. We're giving it a trial run. If we get some subscribers here over the next month, we'll keep it going. If not, we're going to scrap it. But once again, if you want to access that Chairman podcast right here on YouTube, you got to join and become a member right here on Brock Page Productions. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me here today. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.